It's very scary. I genuinely think that there is something about these kids that means they have just been so successfully brainwashed. So, yeah, if you wanna understand why you shouldn't let your children on TikTok, go and have a look at TikTok. Go and have a look at TERF Talk, as I like to call it. But I we started the war on breasts, and I found out something interesting that actually, um, Americans not only do the most breast amputations of teenagers, but they also do some of the highest levels of breast implants. Breast reductions, I think, is a very different thing because it's often to improve the health and the well-being of young of a girl. But even that, I just they'll do it very young, and I think this is what happens when you have a healthcare system that's primarily for profit and has way too much money. I think this is how you end up, quite frankly. So it's really scary. But anyway, so I was having a look at these statistics, um, and there's something really messed up about the United States of America. I'm sorry to say it, but I think it's got one of the highest levels of human trafficking, child sex trafficking. And at the same time, uh, there are eight teenagers aged 13 to 18 having their breasts sliced off. Um, it's it's really scary. Like the World Professional Association for Transgender Health um, basically set new age minimums for gender related surgeries of age 15 and up. Although, actually, there are other doctors that have done it younger than that. But can you remember what it was like to be 15? Can you remember thinking that you would have now, when you look back, like I don't even think at 25 you have the brain capacity to understand the lifelong decision of slicing off parts of your body. But I want to raise the issue of why it's repeatedly celebrated. So I don't know whether it's like from an artist point of view, if you want to show somebody as a trans man, a so-called trans man, whether the only way you can do that is make them topless with scars across here. Maybe that's the reason that they're doing it, but it's in children's books. It's in I got it somewhere. Grandad's Pride. There's double mastectomy scars. It was in Blue's Clues on a beaver. Um, it is on different posters, like Pride in I think it was Amsterdam. There was a girl. She had two breast amputation scars, and then she also had loads of cutting scars everywhere. So you could see that she was a genuinely clearly distressed young woman, as if you didn't know that anyway, on the basis that she'd had her breast cut off. Dr. Martens on one of their shoes has got a pink picture of a woman who's had both her breasts sliced off. In Costa Coffee, they've also done it. Costa Express, I think it was. But lots of these corporations are quite happy to tell us how much they hate girls. And I think what it is when you go through puberty, and I said this on TikTok, you notice men and boys staring at you here. For a start, it feels very painful when your breasts first start to grow. But then you notice. So, whether you're 12 or 50, there are some men that will make it very, very obvious that they're looking at your breasts. And I wonder if that's why you have this association with obscene discomfort, because what we know, what we know in when you go through puberty, it is a global necessity, apparently, for girls that you both become extraordinarily sensitive to everything. Everything is really, really embarrassing. And you also want to push away from your parents. And so you also want to be accepted by your peers. That's kind of the drivers, if you like. That's especially girls, but that's how Our behaviors are created. That's why if you're hit by a car, it's far more likely you're hit by a car in a group. Because if everyone runs across the road, even if you know it's dangerous, you'll take that risk. That's why kids start smoking. Because if all your friends smoke, it's better to risk long-term effects of smoking than it is to risk being the social outcast. So we know those things to be true. So and you're hyper aware about people looking at you and how you feel. So when you take those things into account, and the thing that has developed on your body is right here, so then you can see people, particularly men, you can see men looking at you. It's not like your ass has just doubled in size because you're not going to see people looking at you from behind, but it's right here. Then that is the thing that you can really focus on. And if now you can really focus on it, and you can get that embarrassment removed, whether you claim to be non-binary, whether you claim to be uh, a trans man, whatever it is that you claim, I think that's what it is. And Rose says she's very glad to have small breasts. Well, I don't think it matters actually, because in the United States of America, loads of girls are having breast implants. So either way, this has become a measure. Everywhere you look, like smutty humor over here in the UK often talks about breasts. We went through a culture in the 90s, and still to this day, of having semi-naked women. And in some states in America, it's obscene to breastfeed in public, but yet they will cut off the breasts of healthy girls. And I think that it's time that when a company, like when Dylan Mulvey, or whatever his name is, Mulvaney, I don't even know his name, that terrible human, overactor, terrible person. When he um did the Budweiser advert, what happened is that people copied in all the time and complained and made it really difficult. I think that's what we need to do to corporations who parade around a woman who's had her breast sliced off as if it's something to celebrate. So Costa Coffee, Costa Express is one, and Dr. Martens is the other. They've both used mentally challenged, emotionally crippled girls, or just raging narcissistic girls, of which I think there is a massive overlap. And I know, look, I'm not doubting that some are led to this for trauma, but if we stopped offering kind of congratulatory surgeries to girls who are traumatized, then I think that we would stop this. But the Mulvaney, thanks. I do think there is a definite war on breasts. And I don't know how to solve it, but I do think if we spent less time talking about breasts all the time, I think maybe girls would stop fixing on that as like the biggest sign of womanhood that they've got. Unfortunately, you can't stop being a woman, even if you have them cut off. You can't stop being a woman, even if you take cross-sex hormones and you grow a beard and everyone calls you Adam. You just can't stop being a woman. You'll never stop the person that you actually are. Even if you think you've conned a few people, let me just tell you, most people know that you're female, even if you claim to be trans, even if they go along with it. Most people know that you're female. For a start, most of you are under 5'3", and you don't pass. And nobody's ever going to truly accept you as male. And so I think it's about time that you realize that actually, when it comes to the whole big wide world, very few people care about what you think about of yourself and what you think you are and what your identity is. Most people might go along with it out of politeness, but they're probably just thinking that you're an attention seeker behind your back. So, um, anyway, I've done a TikTok. My voice is nearly dead. So, I will bid you farewell. If you can speak the truth, even when you know it's quite painful to those that are listening, then I promise we will win. If you can just stand firm when all around you think that you're mean or bigoted or crazy, then I promise we will win. And do you know why else we're gonna win? Because I never lose.